everyone, it's Megan here from Meghan Makes Do, and today I'm going to show you how to knit the Quade blanket. This is a beautiful, simple, beginner-friendly blanket. All you're going to need to know how to do is knit and purl. So let's go ahead and get started. For this tutorial, you're going to need 7 skeins of Lime Brand's Respun Thick and Quick. I am using the color Pumice Stone. It is a super bulky 6 yarn, and you get 223 yards per skein, and it comes in a giant skein of 12 ounces. So if you're not using this yarn, make sure you're using a super bulky yarn that is similar to the Respun Thick and Quick. You will also need a 60-inch long circular set of knitting needles in US size 13, which is a 9mm. So as you can see here, I have connected 2 of my interchangeable cords with a little connector here. For the tutorial, I'm going to be making a smaller swatch, so I'm going to take off this extra long cord and just use a smaller one. But just know that for the size of the blanket, you will want an extra long 60-inch cord, and I'll put links in the description below for all the materials that we're going to use today. Okay, so I'm just going to be making a small swatch with a little bit of yarn that I have left over from making the Quade blanket. And just note that this pattern is very easily adjustable. The multiples you want to have is 20 plus 10. And that's going to give you an odd number of little sections, since the Quade uses this cool textured checkered stitch, kind of like a basket weave stitch. So since we're just doing a small sample, I'm just going to cast on 30 stitches because we have 20 as our multiple, plus 10 is 30. So I just like to use a long tail cast on. So I'll put a slip knot on my needle, and then we're going to cast on till we have 30 stitches on our needles. All right, so we have 30 stitches cast on, and to start our Quade, we're going to be working the first 22 rows. Since this pattern repeat is over 22 rows, I'll just show you those first 2, and then you'll just repeat those over and over again until you are finished with your blanket. So for row 1, we want to knit 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then we're going to purl 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then we're going to knit 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So when you're working up the actual Quade, you're going to cast on 150 stitches. You'll knit the first 10, and then the repeat is purling 10, knitting 10, all the way across that first row. Row 2, super simple. We are going to purl all stitches. So just purl all the way across for row 2. Okay, So now for rows 3 through 11, we're just repeating rows 1 and 2, ending on a row 1 repeat. So the row 1 repeat is the knit 10, and then purl 10, knit 10, purl 10, knit 10, all the way across your row. So I'm going to go ahead and work up through row 11. You can do the same as well, and then I'll meet you back here for the next part of our pattern repeat. Okay, so that's the end of row 11. And now for the next half of our pattern repeat, we're going to turn. And normally we'd be doing a purl row here, but we're starting the next group of like squares of our checker pattern. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do what we would do for a normal row 1. So for row 12, we are knitting 10. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we're purling 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then knitting those last 10 stitches. So very similar to, well, exactly the same as row 1. You'll knit 10 and then purl 10, knit 10, and repeat that across your row. Okay, so now for row 13, we are going to knit all stitches across. Okay, so there's the end of row 13, and you can see that we basically have switched up our squares. So this square here that we started with was a stockinette square, and now we're switching it over to a garter stitch, and where we had the garter stitch square, we're switching it over to a stockinette square, all the way throughout our whole blanket. So we're going to repeat those two rows, rows 12 and 13, through row 22, and we will end on a row 12 repeat where we're knitting, purling, knitting, purling. So I'm going to go ahead and work those last few repeats so you can kind of see what the blanket will look like. Obviously this is a lot smaller than what your blanket will be, but you'll get a visual idea of what the pattern will look like. Okay, so I just finished row 22, and you can see now more of what our pattern will be. So these 22 stitches are our pattern repeat, and we're going to repeat rows 1 through 22 9 times. And then we'll repeat rows 1 through 11 once more for a total of 231 rows. And then we will bind off all of our stitches purl-wise. So you'll purl 2 stitches and then bring the right stitch over the left, purl the next stitch right over left, just as you would if you were binding off knit-wise, but instead you're making purls. So that is it. That is all you have to do for the Quade blanket. It's a beautiful, like, super soft and squishy throw blanket, perfect for fall and winter knitting. They make great gifts, and the Lime Brand Respun Thick and Quick comes in gorgeous colors, so you can suit any needs or home decor that you have. So I hope that you enjoy this tutorial. Again, you can find the written instructions for free on my blog. You can buy a PDF in my shop, or of course you can get the complete kit from Lime Brand Yarn. All links are in the description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.